Sadhan Kumar Dey. He is a professor of English in the Department of Engineering and Science and Management, RCC IIT, Kolkata, India. He attended the introductory workshop of UHV in November 2 to 6 in 2021, I suppose. I can correct it. And he is volunteered as a PPI and in online workshops. And he is also acting as co-facilitator in many face-to-face workshops. So he is a very active volunteer in the Eastern region. So with this brief introduction, I welcome Sadhan Bhaiya to his sharing in this morning session. Over to you, Sadhan ji.
Okay, sir. Am I audible clearly?
Yeah, very clearly. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Respected resource persons, all AICT NCCIP members, my dear co-explorers, and the attendees of the morning session. Today, I have got the opportunity to share my observation on exercise 1 and 2 that are the core area of our morning session practice. As Sunil sir has already introduced, I started my UHV journey with November 2nd to November 6th with the introductory online, then passing several refresher 1, refresher 2, UHV 2, and I also got opportunity to complete UHV 3 with Sunil sir and others in Chennai this year only, that is May 1 to May 8. Still very, very fresh in my memory about all the mentoring process that we got introduced to. Today, I would be referring to my self-exploration with reference to exercise 1 and 2. And I would try to exemplify few experiences that are very, very core to my UHV practice session. So, one important change that I have got to see, that is the change in the world view, starting from 2020 till today. I tried to reform particular research questions during my morning session observation. The first question that I referred to, who am I? Every time I face this question, whenever we start the exercises over there, especially with exercise 1, I would be detailing out. The second question that comes to my mind every time, that is it possible to be unperturbed, that too unconditionally? Because conditionally, even a child may be kept unperturbed by taking help of a Cadbury. But is it possible that without setting any condition, can I remain unperturbed, taking help of exercise 1 and 2? The third question that I form, that how am I? Coexistence of self and body. And that too, I am always being in the space. So these three research questions I took for preparing myself for this session today. And my objectives are very clear. That is, I directly observe the consciousness by consciousness. That is the first objective. And the method is, again, that taking all the 7 states of exercise 1, And my second objective is to verify and to directly observe the interaction between the self and the body. And that too, taking help of exercise 2, all the 6 steps first, and the 7th step, that is added one with reference to the space. Now the question is very clear to me that first objective is to see the consciousness by the consciousness, and the second to see the body, that is the material, by the consciousness again. That means there is a link between exercise 1 and 2, that is, who is observing? The observer is the consciousness in both the cases, in exercise 1 as well as exercise 2. Let me detail out with my experience with exercise 1. Now, the first challenge that I faced with step 1 of exercise 1, where I think that I am aware of the imagination. And we all know that imagination in our case is desire, thought, and expectation. How can I be aware of myself? And UHV has trained me with the reference point of self-dialogue. Dear friends, I really feel a goosebump even today to think of that self-dialogue is such a potential tool for self-exploration. And if we can, do that exploration with self-dialogue, we may reach somewhere that we don't know. That's why self-dialogue that I took as the tool for being aware of myself. And whenever I feel that there is any sort of disturbance, I look back again to step 1. I come back again to step 1 and see the consciousness, directly observe the consciousness. In step 2, I evaluate my observation with reference to if I am aware of, how can I be aware of, and where I take the reference point of self-verification. And self-verification, whenever I take, I can share some little bit my experience regarding that. How can I self-verify the UHV proposals, and that too through the tool of natural acceptance? Whenever I think of, is it correct? Is it true? Is it right or wrong? I can get the answer by searching within myself. And that is the process of evaluation that I always evaluate whenever I think, that is the standard policy is to see the consciousness moment by moment. And sometimes, yes, due to some worldly pressure, I may not see it, that what is there in my consciousness. But whenever I want, I can go back to again to step 1 and get the source, that how can I observe my consciousness. With reference to the third step, where I ask, am I comfortable or not? As I was referring to my step 2, where I need to evaluate. So that is a pointer for the evaluation, that am I comfortable or not? It has been seen by my experience that whenever there is something which is against natural acceptance some way, I feel most discomfortable. You see, just one example. Last Sunday, I got back from one personal contact program class of a university, and I found the front door of our apartment that was locked from outside. No, last 8 years I haven't seen such a condition that where the front gate is locked from outside. Dear friends, the first idea that came to me that how could it be possible that in a daytime situation it is locked from outside, even in night if it is locked from inside. How can it be possible? Then I just wanted to know that what made or who made this, and the security personnel reported that the son of the flat owner who did that said, I told that not to do, and still he did. Then there were so many other members who also came, because there is one office below my floor. So many office members were there, and even the parcel boy, that he was also there, and he was locked with it. Now I felt really it was very discomfortable. I came late, by 1:50 p.m. and then I found that was the condition. Then I managed to just taking help of others to break the lock. Now, when I broke the lock, I felt maybe there would be some good thing, but at the same time, I was thinking of that what would be the result of this. Let me see. Then I entered. Later on, I faced some trouble. I would also be referring with some other experience that I got with some other step. In step 4, the condition came again that who is deciding the feeling. So my feeling was not just, one decision that I would be touching with reference to exercise 2. My feeling in this case was that I would be just getting into, and I won't want any sort of obstruction in my way. So that was the feeling, was that this feeling was not only for me, but for all others who were waiting outside to attend the office. And those very people who were locked inside, that very feeling was running during that time. So that's why whenever I think of this particular incident, very recent incident, I think of one important see or observation, that who decides the feeling? This feeling is decided by the consciousness, by me only. And I always am aware of that I would be taking the responsibility myself, because I have decided the feeling. In one particular case that I found, that this very person later on came up to my flat and showed all his criminal force to enter into, because he thought it was one mischief that I have done by breaking the lock from outside. Now, you see, this very intoxicated guy, the son of the flat owner, he came up to me, but my feeling for him was, I checked again and again, is it a bad feeling that I have kept for him? I found that no. Still, when he came up to my flat, used all of his criminal force and some filthy language also, that why I disturbed his, way of work. I myself actually was having the feeling for him in the same way as I feel for others. Though I had a point of reaction, but I kept it for the time being. I didn't vent it out, didn't sew it up. And here I found that my, self-observation, the pure self was observing the self who is deluded one. And I could easily see the running temperature within me, that one part of me wanted to give solace to this guy. The other part was still angry because of the operation, and people were kept standing for more than 2 hours outside. So that was one repressed point I found over here, dear friends. And this is a point where I could re-verify that who is deciding the feeling. The feeling is decided somewhere else, not in the what you call in the area of mind and intellect only. It is decided by my inner self. So I have found a very triangular shape of operation over here. One part of me was guiding with the feeling of human being, that he is also the coexistence of the self and the body. The other part was still disbelieving that how can it be? Because body-wise, he is just like a demonic, in his shape and size, and was using filthy language, very, very, potential reference that he is body only. But my UHV training always refers that it is never possible. He is the again coexistence of the self and the body. How can it be possible? Still, I was undecided for some time, but at the core of my heart, I had the feeling, really the feeling of pity for him, that how he was, wasting his time and energy for some other purpose, which he could have used for better purpose. I am coming over to the next step, that is the feeling based on right understanding that gives me a clear solace, while the feeling based on wrong understanding that keeps me in disharmony. Dear friends, I was actually feeling so much trouble outside, though I also felt internal composure inside. So two ways I can refer to this particular feeling, that internal composure within is possible only with the right understanding, and where there was no feeling of enmity, no feeling of jealousy, nothing over there. Rather, the feeling of pity for this particular guy that I have already elaborated. My next feeling number 6, that I always try to find out the source of the decision. What is the source of the decision? If it is relationship, harmony, or coexistence, I feel better. The moment I try to feel that I am related, I am in harmony, and I am in coexistence, I feel a better internal composure within me. So this is a practiced reference with UHV step 6 in my case. I have found that whenever there is something relationship, harmony, and coexistence, with the reference point of these three, I always feel a greater internal composure. And that is the way I want to refer in 7, that I try to ensure that relationship, that harmony, and coexistence. Because this coexistence is not only coexistence of the self and the body that I am becoming with reference to exercise 2, It is coexistence of one self with other self. And that is possible in a situation where I can delve deep into my internal compulsion. And I would also refer to exercise 2 as a part of my observation, because in exercise 1, when I observe consciousness by consciousness, while in exercise 2, I can see in step 1 two distinct realities. One reality is the self, other is the body. That realities I experience myself over here. Every time that I try to, from the very beginning, I thought, I am the body. That was my point earlier. But my UHV training and my association with the morning session helped me a lot to understand two distinct realities. I could experience that during one eye surgery that I got, that is one cataract surgery on my right eye. Then I could easily distinguish that I am very different from the body. Whatever activities we do with the sense organs, with the body, that is a different entity altogether. And I, as self, really have control upon all the interactions that I make with the body. My second step of exercise 2 really helped me to reflect upon the interaction between me and the body. The interaction, I have found that there is no material transaction in between me and the body. Because whatever the body wants, that is the nutrition. That nutrition is not directly helpful to me. I don't eat myself even a bit. That means there is no material transaction. When I sip a tea or coffee, that is only the body function. I, as self, has no function to that material transaction. No material transaction is happening over here. Only the affordability that it is affordable or it is made affordable for the body, that is my task, my responsibility, because this is my body. So whatever nutrition that I would be having for the body, that is my responsibility. That I understand with reference to step 2 of exercise 2. In step 3, I generally, I have already experienced that I decide which instruction is to give to my body. And you see, for example, just 2 months before, I was given a task to receive one of my relatives from the airport. And whoever were coming out of the exit, I was searching, my eyes were searching only for that particular relative whom I actually wanted to get from the airport. That means it's very clear that I was giving instruction to my body parts, to my sense organs, so that I get only my decision it was to see things for me. And that's why it's very clear to me that this particular state helped me a lot to understand that I decide and I give instruction to the body, and accordingly the body functions. In step 4, I again got an opportunity to experience something very, very clear, that I am not the sensation. I am not in the sensation. So during eye surgery also I got this opportunity to experience this, that I am not the sensation. I am not in the sensation. And that's why I can see distinctly what is happening to any part of my body. And even if I can ignore it also, because I am not the sensation, I am not in the sensation. So that I can easily, get that it is my, my distance from the sensational part of the body. That's why I can observe every bit of thing that is happening in my body. In step 5, I have again experienced that I give meaning to the sensation. And the sensation, whenever I give meaning, I may feel reacting to it, or I may respond. Now, the meaning that I give, that guides me, would it be reaction on my part, or would it be response? Just for example, the very day after the incident on Sunday, my better half was using some rubbish language, that why did you entertain such an intoxicated person over here to show all his tantrums? Then I could easily see the point, not only that sensation gives meaning, some other meaning to her. And that's why she told me that I should have reacted. How could I be, so cool during that time? No, this is a point of reaction that she just was having. But on my point, it was a response for me, because I didn't, react on that particular occasion, though the occasion was not very much good, with reference to one sober, citizenship that we always know. So you see, the one particular sensation that gives meaning, that means I give meaning to this, may it be reaction, may it be response. So it is again one very important step I feel that I have got opportunity to do. Exercise 2, and that is also the point of linking between exercise 1 and exercise 2. In 6A, that very part where I have, just found that when I react, that is based on sanskar. And in 6B, I found that this particular, whenever I respond, that is also based on sanskar. So as I already elaborated on that my better half sanskar and my sanskar is differing somewhere, where we cannot agree. But the moment we feel that our sanskar is very, very similar, then we can respond. And in this case also, I found a very clear example of this, that how my own sanskar, my own sanskar also I found when it was locked from outside. So that was my sanskar, that how dare he? That was the first expression in me. But when I, got into this, that this was done by someone who is not in his sense, and then naturally I got to respond. And that is why, dear friends, we can easily understand that there is no such thing that our sanskar is the same always. It is not possible. Why? Because we are again, from different sanskars we have got. And that's why in my case also I can testify that my sanskar at the point when I found it was locked from outside, and now my sanskar that, okay, whatever he has done under intoxication, and maybe whenever he would be getting better opportunity, he would be a better human being. That is my internal response to this particular incident. So 6A and B, I don't see separately. Rather, I think that the sanskar leads to reaction or response that is based on not only, what you call the person, that is based on also how the sanskar is cultured or accultured. Suppose 4 years ago, my sanskar was somewhere else, that was in that particular condition. Only UHV has given me better sanskar, I believe. And that's why now, in a situation where others can react, I can respond. That I have, got into my sinews that I would like to express to my fellow beings in this morning session. And very, very, integral part of all these steps, this time I got opportunity to observe that my being in the space, with reference to Shamila ma'am's one good suggestion, that if I can see any difference with my earlier, experience and the present experience, yes, ma'am, you are correct. You guided me rightly. This time I have found this 7 step, though very, very, kept as integral part of exercise too, but it has its merit to be a separate exercise itself. Why? Let me sum up my observation on 7 right now. Now, my being in the space, dear friends, it's such a discovery for me that so many nights I couldn't sleep properly. That, you see, is as a matter of fact, I am in the same space as you are all in different parts of India, in different parts of globe. Now, my spatial entity is observed very much clearly in both the way. When I see distinctly the coexistence of the self and body, it is possible only being in the space. Because whenever I see self, which is itself an entity in the space, and the body, which is another entity in space, they are coexisting so similarly, so functionally, they are coexisting. And at the same point, I feel that every pores of my body, every pores of my tissues, they are having ample space. Myself within a space, and where I am, this very earth, that is also in space. So where I am always in space. In the same space I belong with my body and myself. And it's a fact that I transact with the body in space only. Because you see, whenever I feel the sensation, I can easily understand that I am at a distance from the body. Now, this very distance is a spatial distance in my case that I have found. That spatial distance is always available, but at the same point, we can work together. So that is also possible only with reference point, that I can observe the coexistence of my body and space. And this coexistence of body and self can be extended to coexistence of the self and the self, coexistence of, a group of cells and other group of cells. That is also possible only because I can observe the space. So with spatial entity, we are all one. And that is the source of my observation, that there is no difference. Wherever we see difference, that is only outside. Internally, we are all space-bound cells, and self can observe a lot with reference to the spatial entity. Dear friends, I would be ending my observation with exercise 1 and 2. Still, I feel that UHV has done a lot for me, for my personal observation, for my, especially I would cherish to remember my, SRM University days with UHV 3, where I got Ganesh sir, our Kumar Shambhav sir, our Rajul sir, Shamila ma'am, and other mentors. And it was really a good opportunity for me to see how the volunteers were working so, in tandem with the all participation, all support of their organizations. That was an eye-opener for me also. I also am committed to do work, and sometimes, I am connected with other universities also, and I do my best to spread the message of UHV with my fellow mates across the globe. I would just know my morning session attendees would be happy to know that just last 2 months I have been working with African peace development, where I have, extended the limit of our UHV to global platform, where more than 30% nations are there in that particular forum. That is what we call Association of African Universities. And really, my UHV journey has helped me to reach out to such a big forum. And I am committed once again, not only for the development of the technical students with whom I am directly associated, but to extend it to any nook and corner of the globe, wherever I get opportunity through my writing also. This time, a happy news for all, that one journal with reference to impact analysis that has come up with our UHV proposals, and I'm rather thankful to the management, the global management, who has given me opportunity to present my thoughts over there before the final submission of the journal paper. So over to Sunil sir. My all respect to all my attendees who spend their time for UHV for the just reason, not for UHV, for my self-development that I believe. And again, I am opening the forum for any question if time allows. Over to you, Sunil sir.
Ji, thank you so much, Sadhan ji, for this elaborate, extensive, sincere, and thought-provoking sharing. Thank you so much for that. I cherish the moments which I spend with you at SRMIST Chennai. Yeah, thank you so much. So we straight away go to the questions of Devi Prasanna Mishra ji. Namaste. Namaste, bhaiya.
Namaste, Sunil Bhaiya. Namaste, Sadhan Bhaiya.
Yes, sir.
I have really two questions, but I'll try to submit it in one. And one is that it is a great experience that you faced the flat owner's son who abused you with filthy languages. but still you did not react. And it was not outside reaction, but there was also no inside reaction. So while you were experiencing that, no reaction inside, so out of those 10 activities of the cell, I am referring to the being part, not doing part. That means the analysis, comparison, selecting, testing, and all others. So where were you in that
Okay,
time?
okay, sir. Good
And
question.
next, added to it, that how is your relationship now with the flat owner's son? If you have come
Okay, sir.
across already.
Good question.
Thank you.
Good question, sir. Sir, I would refer to one very, important quiz that we got during our UHV 3 in SRM University, where we were asked where we are. And Sunil sir, who was sitting by my side, he was just calculating that where he is in that particular log where Kumarshambhavs are displayed. Are you in B2, B3, B1, C1, C2, C3, like that? Now, I would be just, answering your second question first, that
Yeah, yeah,
just yes. That is
yes.
the very evening on that very day, just Sunday, 11th, on 11th of this month only.
Hmm.
On evening, that flat owner's son and the flat owner with his wife came to my home to ask for apologies, you see. So,
Acha.
relation-wise, there is no problem over there. Okay, relation-wise, there is no problem. That
Hmm.
day, the son had a problem with the office people who,
Hmm.
who were not paying regularly his rent. That was his point of objection. But the
Hmm.
method that he took, that is illegal one. I told that this is one illegal detention, and that is a non-billable offense. I told
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
And why?
yeah, yeah.
I did that work. Why? Just a token reference that you are doing something which is unethical and which is
Hmm.
not even, available in any law court. You have the civil, procedures to follow that. Why do you
Hmm.
use the criminal force where civil
Hmm.
procedure can solve your matter? So that is
Hmm.
my response to your second question.
And that too, all are not in fault. Some of
Exactly,
them are in fault. So
exactly
for
so.
others, why should you punish them? Yeah.
Exactly so. That is one. And
Hmm.
second, sir, the first question that you asked, really, sir, I found, as I told, at the very, gate, I told, how dare he? Because I didn't know that what was happening inside. Later on, I came to know that he did it by intoxication and using filthy language against the office people who didn't pay the rent of that particular part of the flat. And that's why he was, he was not having that much, that much idea that it is a very clear offense against not only that office owners, but it is an offense against others who are over there in that particular office, or especially me, because I don't have any problem, any issue with the either with the office people or with him. So that's why, what I felt, as you told, that reaction level, yes, sir, I could see, who very directly, so many, times that reaction came bubbling. But this time, why I don't know. Only because of my UHV association, I could find my mentors so cool, even at the height of expression of others, that they remain so cool. So I thought that it is possible, and my mentors are the living example of that. So it is possible. That was my starting point of my exercise, sir. So
Hmm.
last
Hmm.
3 years I have been practicing that, and you may tell in one way, this is just one, petty example to taste that am I really cool, or I, get some sort of cooling, power outside, from outside. No, sir, it's from
Hmm.
within. So I
Yeah,
felt pity for him, to that extent that how he could come down, the stakes of those, because we don't have any lift in this particular apartment. So I was
Mhm.
thinking that how could he come down, because he was intoxicated, and I also just called the security personnel, our Nirupamda, that Nirupamda, please help him so that he could get down easily. And he said, what is important, the same guy just, had given a bit thrash to Nirupam Babu, who just came up to help him out. You see, that, that sort of wonder is possible only and only when self is
Uh-huh.
involved. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Over to you.
yes. Then I was asking, this was
Yes.
a testing you started with, then selected you, of course, then
No, sir. This is
comparison.
not testing, sir. This was just B1 type, to answer you very clearly. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
B1 where I
B1
could
block. Acha.
feel, yes, I could feel coexistence. I had the understanding, and I was about to realize the potentiality of the self. Okay, I'm not realized, sir. Still, I am on the way. So that I could taste this time.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was a good sharing, very purposeful, and also uh, language-wise, it was very nice, and I enjoyed. Thank you.
Ji. Thank you, Devi Basan ji, for the question and the nice response by Sadhan Bhaiya. Now, looking at the time, though we have a few more correspondents who would like to ask questions, I would like to request Gopal Bhaiya for his comments regarding Sadhan ji's sharing. Gopal Bhaiya, over to you.
Namaste, Sadhan Bhaiya.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste. So nice sharing here. You have shared very descriptively. You have described each step with examples. And you have also shared that in many situations, you are able to ensure harmony within yourself. As you said that you were at the level of block B1, means higher level activities. So if you feel that you were at that level, so next we have to observe that how long I can have at that level. Because ultimately we have to continue this stability. So whenever you feel that I am at the level of block 1, then you start observing it, how long I can be in that state. And whenever you slip, you note it down and ask yourself why I have slipped. If this frequency of slipping is very less, then it is very good. If it is happening frequently, that sometimes I feel I am at level of block 1, but immediately I slip down. That we have to practice again and again. So this I can say you can do this as a homework, because you have mentioned many times in your sharing that it appears to you that you are at block B1. So just note it down and practice it for how long you can be in that state. And once you are in that state, are you able to see your sanskar? Are you able to see your thoughts, feelings without getting affected? If you are able to see that without getting affected, it means you are at block B1. And then you practice, am I able to evaluate now my sanskar? Because B1 block is the block where I am unaffected with my sanskar, feeling, thoughts, etc. So you can note it down whenever you feel that you are at block B1. So next step, you start evaluating your sanskar and see whether you are able to evaluate your sanskar without getting affected. if it is happening, then it is good progress we are.
Thank
And
you.
ultimately, we all are working for that.
Yes, sir. Nice suggestion, sir. I would definitely do that.
Yes, Bhaiya. Yes, and that will help for all of us. You note it down, you find out the reason. When you are able to evaluate your sanskar, if you note it down, then it will help to all of us. Right. So that's all from my side, Bhaiya. Best wishes. Keep practicing.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Namaste, Bhaiya.
Ji, thank you, Gopal Bhaiya, for those comments. The comments are helpful to all of us for sure. Now, may I request Shamla Didi to give her comments regarding Sadhanji's sharing. Shamla Didi, over to you.
Ji, namaste everyone. Namaste Sadhan ji.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste. Nice to hear your sharing. Gopal Babuji has already mentioned everything that, how we can become or have more and more clarity within and how we can keep going the next step. I think you have been doing observations within for quite some time now, and it is good that you are able to have much more clarity as time goes. You are working on yourself, and you are also doing the participation outside. So both things together are very helpful. If you could also mention a little bit about the family, how things are with the family members, and is there any possibility of including them in the work that is being done or in attending workshops? You can mention that also.
May I
think
share
it
right
Ji.
now? Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, my daughter, who is already, who has already done UHV 1 and attended conference also in one conference where Kumar Shambhu sir and others, Banchana ma'am and others were there. And right now, my daughter is working as assistant professor in Department of Law of UEM. That is one university over here in Kolkata. Right now, she is also very much prone to, because whenever we get opportunity, we discuss that. But with my better half, it's really very tough for me actually to propose something directly, because indirect proposal also I have found didn't prove much result. Still, I have been trying it, ma'am. Rather, her attitude to this was something not very clear. And one improvement that I have found, that just 2 days ago, when I was just lying down, I didn't raise for our UHV session. She told that you have a session, why not you are going over there? So that was the only improvement I found from her side after so many years. Yes, ma'am, I am still hopeful. Because you see, ma'am, in that particular day's incident, she was thrashing me, telling all sort of rubbish, that why I didn't, show any reaction. Because she thought that is my, what you call, this is my humility is my weakness. That was her point. So that's why, whenever I get time, from my part, there is no problem. Still, sometimes she thinks that how could it be possible that she, tries or tells every sort of thing that can easily, charge anyone. And still, she doesn't find that sort of reaction that I used to do 4 years ago. And that's why sometimes she believes that I have been, some side of crazy person this time or something that I don't know, ma'am. Still, ma'am, I have been trying my best to do that. Thank you, ma'am, for this issue.
Yeah, I think when it comes to our family members, the best thing we can do is to help them be reassured in us with our behavior. So if our behavior stays consistent, no, and if we are consistently practicing this and sort of having the right behavior with everyone, then sooner or later things get noticed and the other also is reassured. But as you said, if mistakes have been made earlier, it may take a lot of time. But that's okay. I think it is important to keep going, persevering, and continuing in the direction that we are going. And all the best to you for your future journey also. Best wishes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shamla Didi. Now we have a few minutes left out, and we have many hands raised. So I would like to request the correspondents to keep your question very brief. We start with Srinivas Gupta ji. Namaste, Bhaiya.
Namaste, Bhaiya. Namaste, Devi. Namaste to all my brothers. Namaste, Sadhan Bhaiya. Am I audible clear?
Namaste, sir. Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, very inspirational and motivational sharing for me. I could be able to get a lot of clarity in your sharing regarding UHV is concerned. And my one clarification from my side required from you is this old sanskars, which are, even though we are, while listening, we feel it's very easy and comfortable to get rid of from those sanskars. But when time comes, practical, real time comes, and then unknowingly we'll fall into the trouble of playing those sanskars with us, and we will get some disturbance. In this aspect, is it depends on what are the factors or some reasons which causes this disturbance and how we are able to come out from that. I would like to know from you.
Okay, sir. Good question that you have put. And yes, sir, this is one important question that we have, scope to analyze with reference to our exercises over here. That who gives meaning? If you directly ask this question, whatever may be the outside condition, who gives meaning to that? Now, if your answer is clear, then you will find that I give meaning. So, whatever may be the outside conditions, whatever may be the outside situation, people that we don't like, as you think, that ask clear question to yourself, who gives meaning to that? So, while giving meaning, dear Srinivas Babu, you can easily see that self gives meaning to. So, whenever we think of a sanskar, as you have nicely stated, that sanskar is the own thing, something that guides us always. But sanskar can be purified as it is possible, as I have, I could find, because 4 years ago, there was another sadhan over there. And this time, this sadhan has got a purified sanskar. And once you get the sanskar purified, you see, sir, you can experience yourself. That stream of purified sanskars only would become. I have found it that when I took decision to do something rightfully, later on other things also gathered over there, and that way on the basis of the right sanskar. So said, nothing to worry about. You are also doing very good, that I can easily find through morning session. and maybe you were part of some activities where I was also there. So that is why, sir, it's very clear that sanskar, as I know, I also had doubt to understand that how sanskar could guide us. And you see, in all situations, we find that the sanskar guides us. Now, if I have a better sanskar this time, then you will find better sanskar next time also, as it
Yeah,
was
Sadhanji,
clearly
time,
explained.
we have a
Okay,
time limitation.
okay, okay, sir.
Yeah, so
I
Thank
think,
you.
Srinivas sir, is it
Yes.
for the time being clear? Later on, you would
Yes,
give
yes, yes.